We're almost back to, okay, so we're back to hearing. So hearing is sound waves vibrate the eardrum, ossicles vibrate, oval windows presses on the perilimb and the vestibular duct, and that pressure wave distorts the basilar membrane, and hair cells on the organ of Corti are displaced, and depending upon the location on the basilar membrane, you're going to hear certain frequencies, and you're going to be aware of loudness or amplitude. So the organ of Corti is a long series of little canals or ducts, and if you take a cross section, you're going to have the vestibular duct, the cochlear duct, and the tympanic duct, and the basilar membrane, which has the hair cells where the movement of the sensory hair cells and their location along this pathway is going to allow you to distinguish a certain range of frequency and judge the loudness of a sound. You guys know that if you get too loud, you're going to damage these cells and you won't be able to hear anymore. So if we look at the organ of Corti, is the organ just above the basilar membrane where the hair cells in conjunction with the tectorial membrane is going to cause various distortion of these hair cells, and the basilar membrane is also going to be distorted, and that nervous information is sent to the auditory cortex, and based upon the location of the hair cells in the long cochlear duct of the cochlea, you're going to get the sensation of hearing. So if we go through the stages of hearing, you have sound waves going through the external acoustic canal, causing vibration with amplification of the sound. The stapes vibrates, and that sends sound waves into the cochlea. Then you're going to have bending of the basilar membrane and stimulation of the hair cells. So those vibrations will then send information along the vestibular cochlear nerve, and it's going to send that information to the auditory cortex. So it's just incredible how we can sense the frequency and the amplitude of sound. It's an astounding sensory system, these specialized cells, and it's amazing. So take care of your ears. Don't go to concerts and get in those pits where people pass you around, right? Anybody ever do that? I can't remember what that's called. I've never done it. I did take my daughters about 10 years ago to the backyard to see Bob Dylan, and there was so much marijuana being smoked that we all left high and had to eat our Whataburger at the end. So the auditory pathways. So how do we get the sound from the hair cells into the nerves and so on? So if we look at, we don't have a, so let's look at that. So hair cells, sensory neurons located in the spiral ganglion, and then the cranial nerve 8. The auditory pathways are carried by the cochlear nerve into the medulla, the cochlear nerve nucleus in the medulla. Neurons relate to the midbrain. The thalamus helps move things into the auditory cortex in the temporal lobe. Okay, and that's it. So we'll stop there. If I can remember where I gotta go. Okay, here. Stop recording. Stop.